Alright guys, I did all the calculations, I checked out all the numbers, looked at all the variables, looked at all the charts and information, and I have come to a conclusive decision that the killer of these brand new characters is none other than, of course, your boy Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Think about it, your man is always depressed, and isn't it interesting how he didn't appear in Kingdom Hearts 3? Because probably he decided to do some time traveling and then...
Pal, great to see ya. Aw, say it ain't so.
Yo, what is up there, guys? It's the Wiz back at it again for another Kingdom Hearts video discussion right here, right now. So let's get right to it. Alright, so clearly I was just playing around in the beginning over here, but seriously though, where's your boy Eeyore? Whoo, those are the real questions, but what we're going to be focusing on today, of course, is, oh my god, what is happening over here? These 4 dead characters, and of course I'm going to be theorizing, placing my guess, but in reality, who knows? I'm probably going to be completely wrong. After all, this is Nomura, this is Square Enix that we're dealing with over here, and we know your boy likes to throw us for a loop. Hey, remember how you all thought that Lorien was the killer of Strelitzia? Newsflash, they're brothers and sister. Okay, isn't it really funny how it's been like 3 years and we still don't even know who killed your girl? I mean, hey, all signs and fingers are pointing at your boy Ventus over here, but you know, until we actually see it in front of us, it's anybody's guess. Oh my god, I can't even imagine how long it's gonna take for us to actually find out who these 4 dead people are, but hey, that's the fun of theorizing, I suppose. So without further ado, let's go Scooby-Doo on this. We gotta have a lot of detective work that we need to go ahead and talk about. So before we actually talk about the 4 dead people, let's focus on the dialogue in the beginning, because it is pretty important. It does give us some insight. So, Eraqus does say quite a few interesting things. Number 1, he says, we've had some good times together. Okay, Eraqus, are you talking about just you and Xehanort, or are you talking about you, Xehanort, and the 4 dead people over here? You know, I'd like to think that he's talking about everyone together, so if he is talking about everybody, then, ooh, it must mean he was pretty close to those 4 people. Is it really 4 in the squad? Hold on, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, the other big dialogue is when Eraqus says to Xehanort, hey man, it's not your fault. That's interesting. So you're telling me Xehanort feels guilty? But why? Well, I can only think of 2 logical ideas over here. Number 1, Xehanort was the ringleader within the group. He had a plan of attack, he had, you know, a mission, an idea, but it completely backfired on him. He underestimated the enemy, his idea, his plan, it completely backfired, and you know, they all died. So I can understand, you know, Xehanort feeling pretty guilty if he was the one in charge of the group. Now, number 2 is that Xehanort simply wasn't around at the time. Maybe he was supposed to be on this mission with these 4 people, but he was busy doing something else. What could he have been doing? I don't know. Maybe he could have been talking to the masters of the masters. He is at that same age where he talks to the Masters of Masters, so maybe he was off busy checking out worlds, doing that, when he should have been there for his friends. Come on, Xehanort, your friends and your powers, you're slacking over here. What are you doing? This is why you become bald later at the end. Unbelievable. But those are the only 2 logical things I can think of. Number 1, he was in charge and it just completely backfired on him. Mission failed. We'll get him next time. Well, I guess not for those guys because they're dead. Or number 2, he wasn't around when he should have been. Those are the only 2 logical things I could possibly think of as to why Xehanort would feel guilty. So with that out of the way, let's talk about, you know, who are these 4 dead people? And oh, that's the biggest question. So I have a few ideas. Number 1 would be maybe Xehanort was leading his own little class and he was responsible for them and they died. Well, I guess that's a possibility, but that would tell me that there's more Keyblade wielders coming in because, you know, they were a lower class. Now they're clearly, definitely at this age, it's been 4 years later, they're much more of a higher up class. So unless there's another lower class group of students and Xehanort decided to be like, hey, I'll watch these kids, but yeah, completely fails, then that's a possibility, but I'm gonna ride that one off. I don't really think so. So number 2, and this is the big one over here, maybe it's the upperclassmen. It is a possibility that it is the upperclassmen. Although, if they're upperclassmen, by 4 years, shouldn't they have like already graduated at this point? They shouldn't even be anywhere near Scala Adkylum. So that's why I'm a little bit iffy about this. But if it is the upperclassmen, then we have to ask ourselves, what connection would there be for Xehanort to feel guilty? Is it because like, ah, man, those guys were awesome, you know, they were up to upperclassmen. They're really helpful. Maybe he felt guilty because he wasn't strong enough to join them on their mission and they died. Or maybe Xehanort was with those guys and he wasn't tough enough, so the upperclassman was like, yo, Xehanort, get out of here. This is too much for you. And, you know, Xehanort could feel guilty, like, man, if only I had power or something. And haha, then he talks to the Masters of Masters. But see, that's also another big question. When does he talk to the Masters of Masters? Is it before everybody dies, or is it after everybody dies? See, these are the questions that I have over here. We're probably gonna have to wait months for these answers. But I mean, the upperclassmen, yeah, it's a possibility. I could see that in number 3, and that is the one that I'm completely scared of, and I am in denial because I do not want this to happen. It could be Vor and the rest of the squad. Now, the only reason that me and a lot of people think that it's not them is simply because it's too obvious. Like, he made it ridiculously obvious that it's them. Now, that's not to say it's not true. I'm pretty sure in the secret reports, Xehanort talks about like how he's like all alone in this and that. So yeah, it just makes logical sense for them to be them, but at the same time, it's like it's so obvious, but I don't really know over here. So let's actually look at each character and try to figure out if they would actually be alive or dead. And heck, we actually have to ask ourselves too, did all 4 of these characters die at the same time, or are we picking them off one at a time? Oh, that's going to be so depressing if it's one at a time. But I'm going to imagine that it's probably all 4 at the same time. That's just my guess over here. So let's look at all the characters and check out our checklist. Here's the one thing we got to pay attention to. There are 7 people within Xehanort's class. 4 of them possibly are dead. So that leaves us with 3 characters, meaning of course we have Eraqus, we have Xehanort, but that means there's one other person aside from Eraqus and Xehanort that is alive, and that's the real big question. Of course, that is if it's them, but I'm just gonna assume it is them because I don't want it to be them, but I have to accept reality over here. So who could it be? We've got a long list of characters, so let's start off with number 1. Hermod. Could Hermod actually be the one alive, or is he dead? Well, Hermod is a messenger for the gods, so I could see him, like, you know, maybe he was trying to run and get help, but of course he came back and it was already too late. You know, I've been describing Hermod as the Tenya Ida of the group, but by saying that, Hermod being the older big brother from what we know of his character bio, makes me think that he would be the one, if anybody, to probably die and make the sacrifice play, because if you're the big brother within the group, you want to make sure that everyone else is safe. You're not going to really hesitate to, you know, put your own life on the line because you're the older one. You know, you want to make sure all the younger ones, your friends and this and that, like, they'll be alive. You're willing to make the sacrifice play. So Hermod, I think, has a strong possibility of being one of the dead people. Is he alive? Like I said, it is a possibility. Maybe since he's a messenger, he ran off to get help and was able to come in time, but unfortunately they all died. So Hermod, I want to say he's like 70% probably dead and maybe 30% actually alive. So that's my ideas on Hermod. Now let's talk about Erd. Erd is tricky because her Norse mythology thing is about like destiny and fate and the 3 norms, that of course being Skold and Verdandi. So like if we're to continue on this whole thing, I feel like she would kind of need to be alive. But at the same time, I could totally see her dying because she does seem like, you know, kind of the big sister within the group, and just like Hermod, she'd be willing to make the sacrifice play, I guess, to protect everybody else. But again, we have this whole destiny Norse mythology thing, so I would want to say that she's pretty likely dead, but at the same time I get kind of pulled back because that whole destiny thing, and we know destiny has never left a chance when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. So I mean, those 2, if anything, they probably gotta go. Now number 3, and this one, okay, Bragi. I can see him being alive for a couple reasons. Number 1, the fact that his name is Bragi, which is really close to Braig, which is really close to Luxord, which is really close to Luxu, cannot be a coincidence over here. Not to mention, your guy looks kind of sketchy. I mean, have you seen the face comparisons between Bragi and Braig? Yeah, they're pretty sharp looking characters over here. Now, I feel like this guy could possibly be a survivor. He looks like the dude. I'm sorry, I'm not judging based on appearance, but this is Kingdom Hearts, so I don't know. He seems like the one that would go like psych and like see you later. So I think Bragi is a strong possibility that he could be one of the survivors. Now, the big one, and oh my lord, this is the huge one. Your girl Vor. I think her probability of being alive is very high up there, and it's mainly because I believe she could be Kairi's grandma. She is the closest thing we have to Kairi's grandma. Oh my god, Kairi's grandma, are you serious? Listen, until I see that lady dead, she is still gonna be relevant to this plot. Things from Kingdom Hearts 1, somehow, which had no significance whatsoever, managed to find their way 15 years later into the plot somehow. I'm talking about those little capsule portal thingies over here. But seriously, aside from that though, Vor is an interesting character because when we look at her, she's technically, if I'm assuming, she's the youngest one within the group. Now, come on, nobody wants to see the youngest one die over here. So, if anything, if they're surrounded, I can totally see everyone being like, Vor, you gotta get out of here. Vor, run away. Plus, she is pretty shy from battle when it comes to her character biography. So, I can see everyone like kind of pushing her around, be like, Vor, go ahead, pass the message on, this and that. I feel like she could still possibly be alive. Out of all of them, I feel like she would be the one to survive, mainly because the whole she can grow up with Xehanort Eraqus and be Kairi's grandma, but also the fact that she's just the young one. Nobody wants to see her die, and they would take her escaping the top priority over here. So that's my ideas on Vor. I think she's got a strong possibility of being alive. If she's dead, I'm dead. I quit the series. I am done, because no, not my girl Vor. Why? But of course, last but not least, this is the big one. Baldur. Baldur we have yet to see in this game, but based off of his Norse mythology, Baldur is the son of Odin. He's basically like the god of light. Everybody loves him. He eventually kind of gets killed by the trickster Loki, which I've been saying this whole Scarlet Kylum is starting to look a lot like Asgard over here, where Eraqus would be Thor, Loki would be Xehanort, so I don't know. I mean, Xehanort doesn't really look like a bad guy, but this path to darkness, we saw how quick he was to, like, you know, give Eraqus that, like, scar on the face. Who knows, maybe Baldur is gonna get in Xehanort's way. It's like, I gotta kill this guy over here. But Baldur, eventually, ultimately, after his death, kind of leads into Ragnarok, which, like, you know, ooh, that's the end of everything over here. So Baldur being a very important figure, loved by everybody, him being killed would definitely set things off to go down a very dark road. But I feel like for such a big man like Baldur, maybe his death would have to come separately. Yo, watch, like Lushu or something is going to be in the background and just going to kill Baldur and blame somebody else for it. I have no idea. It's loads of possibilities, but Baldur is a pretty big one. That could still be alive, and he probably will be, seeing as how we've only heard his name and we haven't actually seen, you know, him whatsoever. Now, clearly Dark Road is going to be, you know, probably showing us the events that led up to this 4-year thing. So, yeah, Baldur. But then it makes me wonder, like, and if Vor and the squad aren't dead, it's like, where the heck were they all this time? Like, have they just been sleeping in the sleeping world or something? I know time moves differently in different worlds, as they explained in Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, but, like, did you not sense all this darkness and evil that's been happening to Sora and the rest of the gang all this time? Them being the ones that are dead makes the most sense to me, honestly. And I know someone's gonna say, whoa, what about your boy Odin? Couldn't Odin be dead? Very, very good question, and I like to believe that he would be alive above everybody else, mainly because, well, Eraqus does say, hey, the Mark of Mastery exam is, you know, in a couple of weeks or whatever, so somebody has to be there to give them the exam, and it's gotta be Odin, am I right? Unless there's another teacher, but I'm starting to think Odin might actually be the only teacher in this island, because they say everywhere else is a ghost town. The only people that are actually here are the people that are in this one island. So, man, your boy Odin's got a lot of work cut out for him. He's gotta grade all these papers all by himself. He's only got one eye, too. I can't believe all this stuff over here. So Odin, I don't think he's one of the dead ones. I think he's honestly alive. But guys, that is basically it for this video. Those were all my thoughts, my ideas as to what the heck happened over here. Again, loads of possibilities. Like I said, Nomura likes to keep us guessing. He likes to lead us on to different things. So those 4 people, it might be somebody completely different. It might be the upperclassmen. But logistically, just looking at what was presented to me, it's probably going to be Vor in the squad, and I'm going to be so sad if it's Vor. No, please let her live. So guys, I want to know in the comment section below, as you know, hey, what are your thoughts on Kingdom Hearts Dark Road? Who do you think these 4 people are? And of course, if you do think it is Vor in the squad, remember, at least one character has to still be alive. It could be Hermod, it could be Erd, it could be Bragi, it could be Vor, or it could be Balder. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen, and wait like 5 years to actually get the results of your answer. So, you know, guys, if you like the video, make sure to give it a big, massive thumbs up, as it helps me and the channel out quite immensely. If you aren't already, you can follow me on my Twitter, same thing as my YouTube channel, which is Ed the Wiz. I'm also on Instagram, which is MattSwag12345, where I post all the good photography, photos, pictures, Kingdom Hearts, this and that. And I'm also on Discord, link will be in the description below, where we can go ahead and talk some more crazy Kingdom Hearts madness, because that's what this is. Oh my god. So until next time, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and say bye, pal. We'll see you soon. I gotta defeat like 300 enemies in Dark Road right now. Oh my god.